All right, everyone, welcome to Monday of week 2. You just completed week 1. I'll be getting that grading done for you. I usually try and complete the grading on Monday and Tuesday of the following week. So that gives everybody the full week to get everything in. And also so that it's fairly graded. And so you learned a lot about trauma stewardship during this week, and you got into the book, which is a pretty great book and a good resource to have. A few things that I always am reminded of with that book is it really understands, it has a quote in the one page from Henry Thoreau, who says, most folks are pulled by two powerful and opposing drives: the desire to enjoy the world and the urge to set it straight, which is the struggle all the time, especially if you're doing work that is dealing with lots of others and difficult, and also deeply committed to reconcile the hardships and struggles and joys of doing this work. So as an educator, working in the public schools for almost 30 years, I loved my job, and I also had this feeling that I wasn't sure if it was killing me or not. So that is the struggle. Like, you love it, it brings you joy, but at the same time you feel like you are struggling. So hopefully, as you read through that first chapter, you really understood the importance in maintaining compassion for yourself and others as we explore the trauma exposure response. So just something to think about. Those are a few things I always pull out from that first chapter. And hopefully you got a lot out of week 1 as you got into trauma stewardship. And now as we enter week 2, we are going to get right into self-care. So there's a discussion board, there's an activity, and there's a journal. So you're going to start with a discussion board. So there's an article and a video to watch. And again, this course is, well, all the courses I love that I teach in trauma. However, this one is great because it actually helps you develop some practices for yourself. So you're going to take a moment to watch that video, and then you're going to also read the article, and then you're going to work on posting on our discussion board. And remember, with the post, you need to make sure that you're posting by Wednesday so that then people have time to give 2 responses. So the discussion board is definitely a favorite of mine because I think self-care is a buzzword, and a lot of people, when you bring up self-care, they, hardworking folks usually roll their eyes like, seriously, are we going to talk about this right now? So it's a Reddit post all about being fed up with the self-care trend. They posted how they hate the term self-care. So you're going to be responding to those questions below. So how do you define self-care? Why do you think it's important? Is it important for everyone to practice, or just people who work in, helping professions? And maybe a new term that we could define it by. Although I'm not one for throwing out the terms, I think we just need to set the record straight for what self-care really is. And I often present to folks about self-care, and I take time to say and call it out that, it's often misunderstood by many, in that they don't get what it is, and they often see it as, just a way of having a day for yourself. And it's not just about that. Anyway, it makes me laugh because I deal with it all the time. So then you've got an activity to do, which is to sort of make your own heads up game. Really, it's about you defining those, getting the definition for those words. And it's a creative way to do it. It's not my favorite activity that they've put into the syllabus, but it's really about you learning the definitions for those words. So do your best with that one. If you struggle, don't hesitate to ask questions. And then my other favorite part of this week is that you start your journal on self-compassion. So there are a couple articles for you to read about self-compassion, and then a chance for you to pick an exercise from the ones that are given as potential self-care practices. You're going to pick one to try for the week. So here's the thing. It's not due until Sunday, but you've got to be practicing it all week. So hopefully you're listening to this announcement, because you've actually got to do this one starting today, preferably if you can. So you really need to actually this week first get to this journal so that you can pick an activity to try for the week. And then you're going to journal about that. And it's a good way to try out self-care, because a lot of us don't participate in self-care or don't even think about it. So this will give you a chance to schedule in some self-care, because it's part of your assignment this week. So check out those resources, figure out what meditations or exercises you want to try, and get started on that today if you can, so that you can have a full week to really say, hey, this worked or it didn't work, and why. All right, so I think that does it. So again, this week's a little different. Starting things early, but they're not hard. And I think a lot of it can be really good for you, actually, and hopefully you'll enjoy this week. So with all that said, everyone have a fantastic week, and don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions, and go practice your self-care.